Great guys, and I just have a little bit of a rant that I kind of want to go on, or just things that I've noticed, especially after watching the Summer Games Fest, knowing that, a bunch of big name publishers were going to be on there and everyone was getting all excited. And I saw Code Vein 2. I was super hyped for that. Very cool. But I also noticed that there was a big name on there. The big name being Nintendo, and I was super excited to see any new news about upcoming Switch 2 games. And it turns out on the Summer Games Fest, the only thing that we saw was the blip of the Nintendo Switch 2. We got hyped and immediately saw a game that we already knew was there, and there was nothing new. In fact, a game that existed for a long time, Cyberpunk, not a bad game by any stretch of the meme, but we already know it was there, and I was extremely disappointed because that was the only thing that they showed. Really, really tragic. And it just got me thinking, it really, really did, about what is the state of the Switch 2 right now. And to me, it's not looking too good. Initially, it was doing fantastic. A lot of people were pre-ordering it. It was sold out pretty much everywhere. And then comes big old launch day where everyone's super excited for Switch 2. And we rush to the stores to see that there's plenty available. I walked into the store hours late after opening, and there was still plenty of Switch 2s everywhere. I'm sure the Walmart, I'm sure GameStop around me had plenty of things. There was no line. I just asked for it. The 3 employees had one of them come over where they weren't helping anybody, and they handed me the Switch 2, and I got it. I got it because I pre-ordered from Target, and Target decided to ship it the day of launch rather than give it to me the day of launch. Real cool, Target. So I got home hyped to play the Switch 2, and I played Mario Kart. I'm the best. Don't worry, I still win these, chat. Don't you dare steal my thing. Pretty much the only launch title that the Switch 2 had, and an $80 price point at that. Now, is it a bad game by any means? No. I enjoyed my time. I think the tracks were good. The music was, whatever. The racers were good. The fact that you can collect costumes, go around in the open world, that's neat. That is neat. But at the end of the day, after playing through, I pretty much beat the entire normal campaign in 2 hours. Granted, I'm pretty good at racing. What the? Yo! You're joking. Right at the end. You're joking. You're joking! No! What? Are you kidding me with the red shells? But I mean, I assure you guys will probably have around the same playtime. I even got, 3 stars, all first places across all of them. Even the Rainbow Road one, I got all 3 stars there. I mean, I don't want to brag, but I got some racing points in. There was close calls that I barely managed to squeeze in that first place, and there was times where I got absolutely devastated. Just blue shell right at the end, and it took away my first place and cost me the entire Rainbow Road run, and I had to redo it. That one was tragic. So what I'm saying here is, Mario Kart, is it bad? Absolutely not. It is a good game. It's a very good game, but it's not an $80 game. Absolutely under no conditions is like this Madden, FIFA game that's just recolored and rebranded to just slightly different mechanics where you can grind on rails and go off the walls occasionally, like have a feather, that's like a new item here and there. It's really not much added to it. It really is kind of the same game. It's a $60 game masquerading as an $80 game is what I'm trying to say. They have marked up the price of this for pretty much no reason. And they're committed to these price hikes of pretty much all the stuff here, and there's really nothing much we can do about it. And of all the things out there, I really didn't think Nintendo was going to be the one to designate the new standard of what we'd be paying for video games, but here we are. Not to say that Nintendo hasn't had shots fired at it. Even at the Summer Game Fest out there, the developers of the new Sonic racing game, which looks pretty good, by the way. Stated like, hey, we're also gonna have cross play across all platforms, so everyone online could go and do anything that you want. And you know, you're not just stuck on the Nintendo Switch 2. And the best thing about it, you don't have to pay the online subscription service to use the internet that you already have. You could just use your internet if you buy it on Steam. Granted, it's a $70 game, $10 cheaper. It's $90 if you want the early access, but it also grants you the DLCs that's going to be granted throughout the entire thing. Just like I assume Mario Kart's going to get a bunch of extra DLCs added to it. So, you know, that's just, it's just a little bit of an extra price point that I think is not really relevant because both of them are going to have those expansion DLCs. And you may say, Noble, you could get all the extra bonus stuff if you just have the Nintendo Online subscription. And yeah, but that's $80 for the family pack, which I would recommend getting because, you know, I have friends and I want to share and play with them. And then I was like, okay, well, what do I have to look forward to after I spent like 2 to 3 hours playing a stream? And granted, I still have the knockout mode and I'll probably play that on my own time. And that seems pretty fun, you know, that seems like a good, decent, another 3 hours of gameplay that I can go through and maybe go through some open world things. I'm not really interested in online racing too much, but I mean, I may do it with my friends, maybe once or twice. Anyway, getting off topic, I try to see what's the upcoming games coming out for the Switch 2. And I wasn't really happy about one I saw. In more than a month, we're gonna have Donkey Kong, and I'm gonna be realistic to you. The game looks like a solid 7 out of 10 game. Not too bad, not too good, but just like a decent game. And then June 19th, we have Rhino Remastered, which is coming to PC, so that one doesn't matter. It's not exclusive. If I want it, I'll get it there. Tamagotchi Plaza's coming June 27th. I mean, I'm not really interested in a cozy game. I mean, that's more of an Ashley game, so that's a skip. Tony Hawk Pro Skater, love those games. Played a ton on the Dreamcast back in the day. But, I mean, that's just a remaster of some games, and it's going to be on PC anyway. July 17th is the Donkey Kong game I told you about. Looks all right. Shadow Labyrinth's coming July 18th, but that's going to be on PC. Super Mario Party Jamboree is going to have an extra edition that you can buy for an upgrade, which is... I mean, I wasn't interested in the first place, and I don't want an expansion. There's Madden coming to all things. Story of Seasons, Grand Bazaar coming August 27th, but that's on PC. Kirby's getting a DLC. It's just DLC. Diamond X Machina, that one actually looks pretty good, coming September 5th. However, also coming to PC later on. And then finally, Pokemon Legends ZA coming October 16th. Which is way down the line out here, but that's coming to the Switch and not just the Switch 2. So like, what's even the reason for people to buy this thing right now? It makes sense why there was so many on the shelf because there really isn't anything to play but Mario Kart at an overpriced price point. And sure, sometime in the future here, we'll have Metroid Prime 4, Kirby Air Riders, and also that FromSoft game that looks amazing. And Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. Those games look fantastic, and I definitely think that that's probably something to look into buying a Switch 2 for, but we don't know when they're coming out. And then this got me thinking, wow, these launch titles are kind of bad. Like, why did you release a console without any bangers besides, like, Mario Kart? Like, what are we doing out here? And I had to look back to see what was going on with, like, some of the previous ones. If we go back to the Switch, it released with Zelda Breath of the Wild, which was amazing. Sure, you could get it on the Wii U, but you would get a much worse experience. And honestly, I want the best open world Zelda experience on the Switch. And to be fair, the Wii U was dying and didn't have any games, so I wouldn't buy that anyway. I'd rather just get the new Switch. And then just a month later, you got Mario Kart 8. So you got another Mario Kart. It had Splatoon 2 in July. It had ARMS in June. It had Mario Bros. And Rabbids in August. You had Fire Emblem in October and Mario Odyssey. And then Xenoblade Chronicles 2 in December. Like, these are banger games, like, just released one after another. Like, there was a month of just another banger game after banger game. And if we look at the Wii U, very much a failed console, they didn't have a lot of good launch titles, too. They had Super Mario Bros. U and Nintendo Land. And then in June, they have Game & Wario, and then August, Pikmin 3. and Super Luigi U, which was like just an addition to Super Mario U, was like, it was pretty pathetic to say the least, and probably a reason why it failed. Hence why I'm trying to mirror what's gonna happen to Switch 2 at this point if we don't get some bangers. If we look at the Wii, what it launched with and came pre-packaged with was the free Wii Sports game, which was massive. That was a really good thing. And then on top of it, you had Twilight Princess, the main reason why I got that system too. All right, but I got 2 banger games right at the start. And sure, Twilight Princess could be played on the previous GameCube, I believe, but I much rather play that banger game on a much better system and hardware, okay? Kind of just like, you know, the new Pokemon game that's coming out. I'd rather play that on the Switch 2, and that's the main reason why I got the Switch 2 rather than the Mario Kart. I'm a big Pokemon guy, you know, if you couldn't tell from the massive piles of Eevees behind me, all right? I can also write it off as a business expense, not a big deal. So what I'm saying here is there's not really a long-lasting value that the Switch is providing right at the start, which is terrible to investors, to people that want to develop for the Switch 2, because if they see that nobody wants the Switch 2, if nobody wants to buy it, who's going to develop for it? Third parties aren't going to want to do it. You're going to just have Nintendo being the ones that have to carry themselves again. And well, you see what happened to the Wii U. This actually might be another curse that's going to happen. And honestly, this pattern is kind of hilarious. How like the GameCube flopped, the Wii was huge. The Wii U flopped, the Switch was huge. And now the Switch 2, well, that might just be a flop. Not having these big, huge games at the start is kind of just boggling to me why Nintendo would do this. It just seems like they threw it on the table, slapped a higher price point, and just wanted money. It's so strange that they're just doing it. They're spending too much time, I guess, suing Palworld than actually making and delivering a good game. I mean, with the state of how Scarlet and Violet launched, which was terrible, by the way, and it was a good game, don't get me wrong, but man, it really needed some time to cook in that oven to get rid of the bugs, for optimization issues, just to make it look better on top of it, considering Pokemon is the highest grossing franchise of all time. It's just there. Now that you can do it on the Switch too, man, what an upgrade, man. You know, lag late actually just, it goes, it works. That's how the game should have been at launch. And then that also got me thinking, well, why don't we have a Zelda game at the start here? I mean, I'm surprised that they didn't launch with one, but I mean, okay. But then usually they follow up with like, okay, maybe not a big Mario title, because that's something. And sure, Mario Kart's a big title, but usually, I mean, it's a solo game title like Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, Luigi's Mansions, I guess, which was a launch title for the GameCube. And then I looked at the release date of the last good 3D Mario game, and that was 2017 of Mario Odyssey. It has been 8 years since we've had a big new 3D Mario game, which is wild to me. Sure, we have Mario Wonder Star, which was an amazing game, by the way, but that's a 2D side stroller. So they got me thinking, like, what are they cooking? Why are they not showing anything? Like, the best we got is this Donkey Kong game, which just kind of looks like they slapped it together as a tech demo of sorts, and they're charging, I mean, $10 for the actual tech demo of the Switch 2, which is stupid. They charge $55 for a camera that I think records in like 180p, the most pixelated thing ever, just for using Discord on it itself. They just have expensive peripherals, expensive games, and hardware that, I mean, it's okay. It's not like super expensive. It's still cheaper than the competitors, but I mean, not by much, and it's not much better than some of the competitors too. Now, Nintendo has always been that value kind of console coming up out here, not like the best graphics out there. I mean, the biggest leap that they had was the N64 back in the day, and then they just kind of like, let's go value now, and it's worked wonders for them. With the Wii and the Switch thriving, just even though it was weaker than the competition, they just had good games delivered. Good, solid games back to back. And this just has me worried about the future of the Switch 2. I honestly think Nintendo is getting cocky. I think that they can get away with anything that they want. And gamers are pretty much just realizing that this is bullcrap. It's stupid and it's exploitive. Like, I remember back in the day when I camped out for the N64 and GameCube launch day. Like, everyone was out the door, everyone wanted to get one, and then if you weren't there at launch, it was sold out. Couldn't get anything. And the fact that I could just walk into the store, grab a Switch 2 hours after launch, don't have to do anything, just in like my cruddy duddy pants and whatever, and like, it's whatever. Like, that blew me away. There was no hype, which makes sense because it's just Mario Kart. That's all there is right now. And now the only upcoming releases of news that we're going to get here is this Pokemon Direct, but I'm going to be real with you. What's going to be shown there is just the mobile games that they have, the Pokemon Unite game, which is just League of Legends Pokemon. I mean, God, just saying League Pokemon makes me roll my eyes. Like Pokemon Sleep App, Pokemon Cafe, Pokemon Masters EX, you know, the one that was mistaken for Pokemon Masters. Anyway, you know what I mean by that one. And then we're obviously gonna get some Pokemon Legends content, Z to A, whatever you want to call it. I like saying Zuh. We're gonna get tons of that content, and maybe we'll get that new Pokemon battling simulator game that I think, you know what I mean, the competitive Pokemon game that they're gonna be showing off there. And maybe, if we're lucky, another announcement of the next big installation coming next year or so. Who knows, but I doubt it. And now I'm getting a little bit too pessimistic because I had my hopes up way too high on that Game Fest to show off some new games coming out, and I was sorely disappointed. Now, I'm not gonna say that I'm probably not gonna get any value of the Switch 2 after a while. I'm sure after 8 years that this is out, I'm probably gonna have a few bigger games that I'm gonna be really happy to play on it. But yeah, as a launch title, it's not in a good state, to say the least. In a very bad state, considering that all they have is just expansion packs to games that they've already released, and they make you pay money just to have upgraded versions of it, or be in the subscription service plus, and you'll get it free to use your own internet. I do think that subscription services are the biggest scam that modern companies get away with now, just to use your own internet. So am I disappointed in Mario Kart? No, not necessarily. I think the game is good. Again, I'm just gonna reiterate, it's good. It's not $80 good. And I do think that, to me, for it being at the $80 price point, I probably would have rated it like an 8 out of 10 game, but now since it's, you know, $80, and very much overpriced, I'd have to say I have to rate it even at higher standards. So it's probably a 6 out of 10 game to me, because there's plenty of other indie games out there that are way cheaper, that you can spend your money on and have hours of more content, like Terraria, which is $10, Undertale, which is very cheap as well. I don't know all the prices off the top of my head. Or, you know, the new game of the year RPG out there, Claire Obscura, you know, Expedition 33, that one, you know what I'm saying. I mean, there's games that are cheaper, like Wukong, like game of the year to me last year. You know what I'm saying at this point. We have options. We have plenty of things that we can do. And I honestly think that this may be the breaking point for consumers here. And it's starting to show. If like these consoles do not move, oh boy, we might have quite the situation. Even as I was making the rant, there's some other things that have come up that I wanted to point out that Nintendo is doing that is just kind of strange. The fact that the Joy-Con drift still exists on the Switch 2 is news to me. They've used the same hardware that caused the drift, even after years of people saying that this is a problem and needs to be fixed. They decided, let's just do it again. I don't understand what's going on through their mind. Did they get sued over this, if I remember? Oh, they did, but the lawsuits were ultimately dismissed or resolved in Nintendo's favor. Okay, that was multiple class action lawsuits. I guess if they got good lawyers, they could get away with everything. The next piece of news is that apparently the price point of Pokemon Legends Z to A came out, with the Switch version being $60 and the Switch 2 version being $70. So you not only get rewarded for buying the much more expensive hardware, and spending money for them, but you get the, I guess, the pleasure of spending $10 more for the same exact game just to play it on the new hardware itself. That is ridiculous, especially considering that Twilight Princess released on not only the GameCube, but also the Wii, where they were both priced at $50, where the Wii version was obviously the upgrade. The fact that they're just charging you extra $10 just as an FU is ridiculous to me. You know, they're not even like trying to hide it behind an upgrade pack where, you know, you could buy it for $10 extra to run at extra frames like some of the other games. Like they're straight up charging you more money, and you can't even use like your Nintendo Online extra plus subscription in order to get the free extra thing unlocked that you're already paying for. This is ridiculous. But only time will tell. I'm just having some speculation at this point here. I'd love to see some numbers put out, but I mean, just the fact that I'd walk into a console's launch day hours after it's released and just easily grab one is a very telling sign. So I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions about all of this. What do you think I'm being a little bit too harsh? If you have more faith in Nintendo, what's going to happen here? I just want to hold them to some higher standards because I still think that they make probably the best first-party games. I'm not even gonna say probably the best first-party party games out of all the consoles, and it's not even close. And to see them get too cocky for their own britches, well, I mean, they need to be humbled. So yeah, thanks for watching this far. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you beautiful sons of guns perhaps on my Twitch where I ranted about this live afterwards, or you know, see you then, maybe in the next video. Ta-ta.